Hey guys, for our next exercise, we're going to be sticking with the Shape Builder tool, but we're going to be shifting gears from using it in illustration to using it in some logo style lettering, kind of like what you see on the screen. So we've got a W there already, but I think that is the letter that is going to give us the most opportunity to see some consistent techniques we might use in this process. There's also some examples of some more challenging letters to create in this style with some pretty either dramatic or maybe more subtle workarounds to get the shapes that we're looking for, whether that's straightening out what would be round edges on letters or even leaving off some pieces, but still implying the idea behind a certain letter. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started with the W. Get down here and give ourselves a little bit of space to work with. We are going to start with just kind of drawing out a line that we're going to use regularly in this process. You might have to bring the stroke back on your line because we're taking the stroke off a lot of our shapes as we work through this process. Then hit V for your selection tool, Alt and Shift to kind of drag out something that seems like a good width for your letters, and let go. Next thing we want to do here actually is go ahead and select these, and we're going to rotate to whatever seems like a good angle for your W. This one actually looks like it might be quite a bit more spread out than my other one if I stick with this angle that's chosen here. But we are definitely looking for consistency in the way that the lines of our W interact. Especially, it just means more simplicity in lettering, and most of the time that is a good thing, something that we're after. So with these two lines still selected, I'm going to come up here to the Object menu and go down to Transform and Reflect. So Reflect vertical is the choice that I have right now. Horizontal reflects in a different direction over a horizontal line. I want to reflect over a vertical line for this to make the next piece of my W. So I'm going to choose that. I have the preview on. Yours might default to off. Then you wouldn't really be able to see exactly what's going on here. So go ahead and switch the preview on. And then what we want to do, instead of just clicking OK, at the bottom here, we want to click Copy because we want to create a new pair of lines. And I'm just going to use the arrow keys to kind of slide those over a little bit. I don't want to have too much excess down at the bottom. I'm okay with having extra room at the top. So I'm going to move it over quite a ways there. And then I'm going to select all 4 of these lines and kind of repeat the process here. So I'm going to go to Object, Transform, and Reflect. I want to do that vertically again. My preview is not showing much here, I think because this is going right over top of itself. So this time we're going to click Copy, and it'll look like nothing happened, but if you use your arrow keys again to slide things out, then we're getting a clearer picture of what's going on here. Right? So I can click off in the background from there, and this is going to be the basis for my shape. You can see we've got a lot of extra stuff going on in here, so it does help to take a second and get clear in your mind about where we want the folding to occur and how we want it to occur. There are going to be some options here. You might play around with having things fold in a different way. For my W, I want to keep all of the folds completely horizontal. So I'm going to come back over here to my line tool, and I'm just going to come into these spots. I have Smart Guides turned on, so View and Smart Guides is picked. Control U would toggle back and forth between having that on or off. So cancel that. I'm going to come right in here to where I can see that it says intersect, and I'm going to drag straight across to the other intersection. If I want to make sure it's straight, I could hold Shift, but if I'm going between intersection points, I don't really have to worry about that too much, right? Then again, over here, drag straight across to the other intersection, and then up here, the peak of the middle of my W, I'm going to find that, intersect, and drag over to that one. Let go, and then up here towards the top, somewhere that I want my top of my W to be, I'm going to come in here and drag, holding down the Shift key so that I do get a horizontal line this time, and dropping that one in. All right, so now I'm going to hit V or go up to my black arrow. I'm going to drag out to select all of these lines, and I'm going to Shift M to get to my Shape Builder tool. So you can see it just got highlighted right there. And then what I'm going to start by doing is just going around and cleaning up everything I don't need as part of my shape. So I'm going to hold down the Alt key so that I'm subtracting things, and I'm going to just start moving through everything that I don't want. You might have to strike through some things multiple times. Little bits get left over occasionally, and just kind of hover over them and click. Come through here, get rid of those. This. Right. Okay. So everything that was extra, I have gone now, and now I need to kind of decide in my mind, what do I want on top? What do I want underneath? And I am going to have these stripes be on top. So I'm going to come in here and connect those pieces. I'm going to connect those three pieces. Right, so we can see this starting to take shape a little bit. Since we're still on our Shape Builder tool, we can come over here and work with some colors. I have some colors kind of pre-loaded in this here, but remember, we can choose our color mixer over here on this side, and we kind of pick from anywhere we want in this, right? So maybe I'm going to switch to like a nice kind of minty green for these pieces. And we're going to be doing multiple letters in our end project. So what I want to recommend to you is, after you have found a color like this that you're going to use, go ahead and click this up here, drop down, and choose Create New Swatch. And then you just click OK over here. That's just going to add things for this particular document that you're working on to be able to get back to that color. You can see now it's here in my swatches again, along with a bunch of other things that I added. Next thing I want to do is come into my HSB sliders and increase the black a little bit. And that's going to be my kind of behind folds. So I'm going to come in here and drop that color into those two spots. And go ahead and just in case I want to make more letter shapes like this one in the same color scheme, I'm going to also create a new swatch for that color. And then hit V. So I'm on my selection tool again. Everything that's here is still selected kind of by default. And I'm going to turn the stroke off on all of this. Okay. And this is good, right? We could click off in the background, could be happy with what we have going on here so far. But there are a few more, maybe just a couple more things we might add to this to take it to a finished level. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit more here and go back to my line tool, find this anchor right here, and I'm going to pull up. At the crease of my folds, there's not much shadow that I need to worry about. That's what I'm going to drop in here. So I'm going to maybe make that show up for now. We'll take it back off later. And I'm going to do, actually kind of want to see if I can V to get back to my selection tool and Alt to drag a copy of that over and see if I can get it to intersect right there in the corner. I think that it landed where I wanted it to. If not, we can just kind of redraw it again. Of course, it'd be great to have a perfect alignment between these two things being parallel, but we'll probably draw out something close enough that people mostly won't notice the difference. All right, so we're going to come back in and select all of this. I'm going to get rid of those strokes again because I'm still going to be able to see the line. I'm going to go back to my shape builder tool, and in my fill, I want to come back to my swatches and start at this darker one. And then you might notice here that like some strange things are happening where it won't show you all of your options. If you just pop up here back to HSB, then I'm actually just going to pull this one even a little bit darker than it was there. Save this last swatch for later. And I'm going to come into these spots and add one more kind of layer of shadow. Alt and drag through these lines up here to get rid of those. And almost done. Click off in the background. Enjoy what we have so far. And then I kind of like the idea of rounding out some of the corners. Not where we're folding, but just like on the what would be like the edge of strips. So I'm going to choose these two corners with shift click to get them both together, but not include the ones down at the bottom of the shape. And I'm going to pull those in just the tiniest amount, so it like jumps into 0.04, but I'm going to take it back to 0.01. I just barely want those corners to bend. And then over here on this shape, selecting those two and pulling this in and then dragging it back out to 0.01. And there we go. We've got another W. What I'd like you to do now is take a look at some of the ideas here. Maybe some of these are giving you too much of a thought about how you might try to do things. But I want you to make for yourself, make for us a TMHS logo or a logo of your initials. My initials are TKM, so they have only straight lines, super easy. My daughter's name is Della. You can see the work that I did there just to see, like, can we make a D something with that would have curved edges with kind of some straight line look. And I think it works out all right. So you can kind of choose. If you go TMHS, then you do still have to deal with the S at the end. I'll be interested to see how people tackle that. Or you can use your initials if you have kind of less curvy letters in your name. All right, so good luck with that. I'll be looking forward to seeing what you come up with. Bye.